that most men change negatively after getting married? And how can this be avoided? This is from Banji.
Okay.
Why do most men change negatively after getting married?
Well, this is a man's question. Maybe I need to start that one. I I think for some guys, the woman is almost like a trophy. Like when they are chasing and they're trying to get the yes, they are doing everything. If you say they should buy a pair of shoes, they'll buy two. If you say, come to my house, I would like to see you, they come at 5 a.m. So it's all like, let's sign this thing. Let's just sign this certificate. And I think that in itself it's a negative way to approach marriage. It is not a 100-meter dash. It's a marathon for a lifetime. And I think some people just take their foot off the pedal once the woman comes and say, what else? You're now married, so the guy begins to now say, life has to go back to normal. And I think that is maybe one reason. There's another question I saw there. Well, the area of communication in marriage, the art of communicating clearly, not in anger, not in. I'm sure many questions will give us some other things, but if you get married, for most men, that respect or honor is a huge issue for them, because man was created, with that. Like if you're the head of something, you're not the head because you are more intelligent than your wife. I've met couples where the man, is not sharp at all, and the wife is very, very sharp, and you are wondering how this guy is even making it. So, but there must be a way. People talk about a woman's love language, those 4 love languages. I would like to submit that women also need to learn the man's honor language.
Okay.
I didn't read that in the book, but I think it's in the Bible. By the time you look at some of the things Paul wrote, he said they should teach the women how to love their husbands and all that. And if you look at 1 Corinthians 13, maybe I can pull it up in, I think, Amplified. One of Titus or Timothy, I'll find it. If you read another translation, he's saying you should respect him, defer to him, notice him, all those Ephesians, right? Maybe we can pull it up. I think that's Amplified.
Yes, that's Amplified.
Maybe if you look at that, I think sometimes if the man refuses to learn the woman's love language, and the woman refuses to learn the man's honor language, so they start behaving like cat and mouse. And of course, people's love languages. The man too has a love language, but I believe there's an honor language that women also need to try and articulate. Is that in maybe you will read it and let's see.
Okay. Ephesians 5:33 Amplified Classic says, however, let each man of you without exception love his wife as being in a sense his very own self, and let the wife see that she respects and reverences her husband.
All right, let's hold it. Let's read that same Ephesians verse
5:33.
33.
The last verse.
If you look at in the KJV, that part says, and the wife sees that she reverences her husband. That's a strong word. I don't know why Paul chose that word, but I think it's a strong word, because the word reverence is almost something we apply to God.
Yes.
So why will you use the word reverence? And it's almost like you're in awe of somebody, but it's not for the woman to worship the man, but he says she what?
That she notices him.
Notices him, which for me is like, why does he want to be noticed? But is there, if you look at the, then
regards him,
regards him,
honors him,
prefers him,
venerates him.
Well, goodness, venerate. That is I mean, it's stepping up. People should look at that scripture. Venerate him
and esteems him,
and esteem him,
and that she defers to him, praises him, and loves and admires him.
Loves and admires him. There are 10 words used to describe the word yes. I don't know why he used that word, reverence, for a man. Now, that is, in our modern day, that is almost not, people will say this is like this is oppression, but that's how the Amplified Classic puts it. Now, that is one side of it, of course. But the man cannot stop speaking that woman's love language. Maybe you need to talk about the love language of a woman a bit. He cannot stop speaking that woman's love language. Because she's not a piece of furniture that has come into the house. It's like you buy a car, but the thrill of a new car is like after 6 months. When the car first comes in, nobody can touch it. Even the children cannot touch the car. Even the driver cannot drive the car. But after a while, you don't even care about the car. So in marriage, you didn't just acquire a property. That, okay, I've bought this house now, I don't really care. No, that's not the way it works. So let's maybe talk about the love language of it, of a woman's, the wife's love language.
Well, there are 5 love languages, basically. Not only for women, but both men and women, yes, have the love languages. And we have acts of service, where the person feels he or she is loved when you do things for them. When you help them do the dishes, you help them take care of the children, you help them do the laundry. Acts of service, basically, for some people, it makes them feel loved. For some people, it's physical touch, just contact a lot. Not sexual contact, but just physical contact where you're touching the person. That makes the person feel a sense of connection, and it makes the person feel loved. Basically, we have that. We have communication as one of the love languages. I think, do you remember?
Okay, you have physical touch, you have acts of service, words
of affirmation.
You have gifts.
Giving of gifts, yeah.
I think there are 4 of them.
5.
Okay. So, so the love language, because sometimes if you are not communicating correctly,
via a person's love language,
you are communicating, but the person is not following you, which I think it's a big issue. You're communicating, but the person is like, okay, I don't feel you. You need to communicate to a point where the person can feel you. And once they can feel you, because sometimes men don't even know
the love language. Most people don't know the love language
the person speaks, because there have been cases where the person maybe brings a car, a brand new car, and then the woman starts crying, you don't spend time with me, and he says, I saved, I worked so hard, and you don't even appreciate the car. It's not that she didn't appreciate the car, it's just that you are not speaking her love language. Maybe time, quality time.
Yes, quality time.
She might, maybe the language she understands is that time, that quality time that that needs to happen. And if that quality time is not there, well, acts of kindness, service, all these languages must be spoken. You have to find, you can even ask, what really makes you feel that you are loved? And of course, men too have the same love languages as
Yes,
human
they
beings.
do.
We also speak all those languages. And I think from a man's perspective, if you start speaking the right love language, you will get the response from your wife. Because the Bible, it doesn't say, women reverence your husband. It said, husband, love your wives as your own self. In that sense, you are putting her first also. If everybody, you are actually both fighting to put each other first. Because if you love her as your own self, whatever you won't do to yourself, when you are thinking of a purchase or something, you are thinking about her at the same time. So God speaks to the man first in that scripture,
Yes.
before he speaks to the woman. So the man, I believe, has a bigger responsibility, learn her love language, put her first, and then I believe the B part of that verse, which is the, where the woman is, that will come naturally. But I believe that, okay, let me give you, let's take traditional Africa, for example, because let's be practical about this. In certain cultures, some men, maybe because of their upbringing, and of course, this may not apply across board because backgrounds are different.
Yes.
What may work for somebody in India, what a person in India will consider honor for a husband, here might be another thing. It will be what somebody in Africa may consider honor, somebody in Europe may say, what are you doing? There are, like my parents' generation, for example, one of the ways my dad, their generation will honor themselves would be in the morning, the wife comes to kneel down. Now, if that happens to me, I'll be wondering what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's not my, my head isn't working that way, even though we're raised in the culture. But that would be a big honor for the man, that in the morning, mama comes to kneel down, good morning, that's, or you cook the food and you serve. Some men, they will expect, especially in this culture, that food is served by their wife. In fact, there are men that they may not even eat somebody else's food. They'll tell you, no, if you're not cooking, I'm not eating. So you need to find, but please, saying this, let the honor be something that is realistic. There may be something from 30 years ago that today, if you want to keep that as your language, well, you'll be hungry for a long time because maybe your wife too is working in the bank and you come home before her. You don't have to wait for her to come and cook. Did you understand? You see what I'm trying to say? But find how you can show this man honor. And sorry to say this, among Christians I have found that, because we've counseled, apart from being married for 32 plus years, one has been around for a long time, with due apology and respect to my Christian sisters, some of the things I've had in counseling rooms, I shudder sometimes. The absolute lack of regard that some Christian sisters, when I say absolute, some of these you can't even repeat it, There's just no. I'll give you a simple example. I mean, your husband comes home from work at 5, you're running a business, you come in at 10 p.m. And when you talk, but I have to, that's when my business sells. I mean, there has to be a meeting point. Okay, you finish work, it's not like you're working in a bank, it's your personal business. I'm not talking hearsay, I'm talking of things I've handled.
Yes.
The guy gets home at 5, you come in at 10, and they even have to call you, and then at 10:30 you start making dinner. So, you see, now, even if the man makes it today, makes it tomorrow, you are not making enough effort to meet. There has to be a meeting point. And I say generally that sometimes I say Christians, because many think, well, a Christian man will not cheat on you and he will not divorce you. So they take themselves,
For granted.
each other for granted. And sometimes the situation is reversed, where it is the man himself who decides, my wife gets home she's a school teacher by 4 o'clock or something, she's already at home, you're working at 11, when they ask you where you've been, well, After office, I play sports. After sports, I visited some friends. It's all part of struggle. And every day you're coming at 11 p.m. You are taking each other for granted. Ultimately, something is going to break. Anything you do not value will depreciate.
Yes, with time.
And I think if we don't value our marriages, our commitments, things can go wrong. Maybe we've said a lot on that one, but